In this equation, or in this question, we are given an equation in slope-intercept form and are asked to find the slope and the y-intercept. The slope-intercept form that you need to remember is y is equal to mx plus b, where m is always the slope, considered rise over run, and paired up with the variable x. B always represents the y-intercept, and b is always a constant, which means it is by itself. The given equation we have to work with is y is equal to 4 minus x. Sometimes it's a little bit confusing to try to think about what's the slope and the y-intercept of equations that are not written in exactly slope-intercept form. So you might want to consider rewriting this equation in slope-intercept form, where you have your mx first and then your b next. So if we do that, we would actually change it around and said y is equal to minus x, or negative x. And then since this 4 doesn't have a negative or a minus sign in front of it, we will automatically assume that this is a plus 4. Okay, so just to recap, remember, if there's ever a minus sign in front of something, you can technically think of that as a negative, because if I rewrote this question in another format, we would see y is equal to 4 plus negative x. And that is also a rule whenever you're thinking about subtracting integers, adding the opposite. Now that we have our equation rewritten as y is equal to negative x plus 4, we can go ahead and determine the slope and the y-intercept. Remember, slope is always going to be paired up with the letter x, or the variable x, and in this case, we don't see a number as the coefficient with x. If there's never a number there, you always want to think about there's always going to be a 1. So technically there is a number there, and that is a 1. And since there's a minus sign in front, we're going to say the slope is minus 1, or negative 1. And the y-intercept is always a number that's by itself, or the constant, and that'll be the number 4.